This story begins with a girl named Tessa, who is starting her very first day at a new university located far from her home. Her mother and longtime boyfriend accompany her to the campus, helping her settle into the dorms. Once inside, she meets her two new roommates, Steph and Tristan, both of whom seem lively, outspoken, and instantly welcoming. The faint smell of weed in the air makes Tessa's mother uncomfortable, and she steps out. Tessa quickly follows her, asking her not to worry and promising she will be responsible. Her mother softens, gives her encouragement, and leaves. Her boyfriend shares a sweet kiss goodbye before heading off as well. Back in her room, Steph teases Tessa by asking if her mom was startled and even mistakes Noah, Tessa's boyfriend, for her brother. Tessa laughs and corrects her. Soon Steph heads out, leaving Tessa alone. The next morning, she walks to class eager and hopeful. There, she meets Landon, an English major, while she herself is studying economics. They share a friendly introduction. Later that day, after returning from a shower, Tessa is startled to find an unfamiliar guy calmly sitting in her room, reading. Alarmed, she tells him to leave, but he smirks and insists he isn't intruding. Steph arrives, assuring Tessa that he is just a friend of hers. Before leaving, the guy slyly spoils the ending of the book Tessa had been reading, which annoys her. The following day in the library, Tessa notices the same guy again, their eyes meeting briefly before she quickly looks away. That evening, Steph urges Tessa to come to a party. At first, she refuses, but then decides to give it a try. She puts on a dress, which Steph jokingly says looks far too formal for the occasion. At the party, everyone is drinking and laughing. Steph introduces her to the rest of the group. Someone offers her a shot, and though hesitant, she finally takes it after another girl mocks her. Soon, the group starts a game of truth or dare. Tessa first chooses truth and is asked a bold question about her most adventurous romantic experience. Flustered, she skips and switches to dare. The same mysterious guy from earlier steps forward to challenge her, but she feels uncomfortable and walks away instead. Upset, she calls her boyfriend Noah, who scolds her for drinking. Irritated, she hangs up. Wandering through the building, she finds a quiet storage room filled with books. The mysterious guy appears again, asking what she's searching for. Tessa, worried he might be drunk, is relieved when he says he doesn't drink, just like her. He reveals the space belongs to him, and hints about continuing the dare. They nearly kiss, but Tessa pulls away and says she can't. That night, Noah's texts arrive on her phone before she goes to sleep. The next day, Tessa joins Landon in class, only to see the same guy walk in, now introduced as Hardin Scott, another new student. During a discussion, Hardin bluntly states that love is nothing more than an exchange of needs, shaped by what people want in the moment. Tessa strongly disagrees, saying true affection can't be bought or controlled, citing examples from the novel they were analyzing. The debate goes on, catching the attention of the entire room. After class, Hardin tells her the argument was thrilling before walking off. Frustrated, Tessa vents to Landon about how arrogant Hardin is, only to learn that Hardin is actually connected to him. His father is dating Landon's mother. The two clearly don't get along. Later that night, Steph drags Tessa along to a tattoo parlor. While Steph gets inked, she playfully urges Tessa to try one too. Tessa shyly admits that she has only ever dated Noah, and her mother fully expects them to marry. That night, when she returns to her room, she catches a glimpse of Steph sharing an intimate moment with her girlfriend. Feeling awkward, Tessa quietly turns away. The following day, Tessa heads out to grab a cup of coffee when Hardin approaches her. He tells her he wants a fresh start, suggesting they be friends since they both know Steph. At first, Tessa hesitates and thinks about walking away, but eventually agrees to go with him. They drive a few miles out of town until they reach a quiet, forest-like spot. After walking a little deeper, Tessa notices a wide lake shimmering in the distance. Hardin says this is his favorite place to be and dares her to join him for a swim. Without much thought, he removes his shirt and dives right into the water. He urges her to get in too, offering her his t-shirt so she won't feel uncomfortable. Turning away to give her privacy, he waits until she's ready. Slowly, Tessa follows him into the water, and soon they're both swimming. As the two float around, she asks him who means the most to him. He replies bluntly that he only relies on himself. Curious, he asks her about her boyfriend, and she explains that Noah is still in high school and deeply cares for her. As he watches her, it's as if he sees something rare and untouchable. Tessa reminds him he only wanted to be friends, but he shakes his head and says they can't just be friends. The tension builds, and suddenly they share a deep kiss. Afterward, Hardin respectfully looks away so she can change back, but instead, Tessa reaches for him, and their closeness grows more intimate. Every moment feels like sparks racing through her. Later, they step out together and stop by a small bar. Over drinks, Tessa asks about his past, but he dodges the question. When she presses him on why he dismissed love during class, he smirks and says not everything he says should be taken seriously, making her laugh for the first time with him. Just then, Steph and one of Hardin's friends arrive, and his attitude shifts as he suddenly acts distant. Afterward, he tells Tessa that what happened between them was only fun and insists he doesn't do relationships. Tessa, who had been close to confessing everything to Noah, feels conflicted and leaves. Hardin looks unsettled as she walks away. The next morning, back in her dorm, she wakes to find Hardin sitting silently beside her, but then realizes with a start that it was only a dream. The next morning, Tessa is surprised to see her boyfriend Noah waiting outside her dorm with a bouquet of flowers. She can hardly believe he came all the way just for her. That evening, the two of them attend a party where Steph and her friends start a playful round of the suck and blow card game. When it's Tessa's turn, she refuses to join, which makes Noah step in protectively. Tension rises, and Hardin ends up clashing with him before storming out. Later, Tessa sits with Noah to watch a movie, but her mind is clearly somewhere else. Not long after, she gets a call from Landon, asking her to meet him. When she arrives, Landon explains that Hardin got into a heated argument and even mentioned her name, so maybe she could calm him down. Tessa soon discovers that Hardin is upset about his father remarrying Landon's mother, while his own mother is struggling back in London. In anger, Hardin smashes a glass, and when Tessa tries to clean it up, she cuts her hand. Hardin quickly takes her to his room, apologizing for how harshly he had treated her before. He admits he's a broken mess, and Tessa confesses she feels just as lost. Their honesty draws them closer, and they end up sharing intimate moments before she falls asleep in his room. The next morning, Tessa meets Noah, who is deeply worried about her absence. But when he notices Hardin nearby, the truth becomes clear, and Noah walks away heartbroken. Tessa returns to her dorm in despair, only to be spotted by Molly, who seems to notice something is going on. Tessa feels like she's lost her best friend, and the sadness follows her through her classes as she tries but fails to reach out to Noah. One day, she runs into Hardin outside, and they finally talk openly. She reveals how her father walked out when she was just 10 years old and how her mother struggled to raise her. During that difficult time, Noah became her support system and best friend, but with Hardin, her feelings are different, much deeper. Not long after, Hardin convinces her to stay with him until the library closes. They share a playful moment as he reads aloud with her sitting on his lap. When security spots them, the two run away laughing, turning it into an unforgettable memory. Their growing closeness doesn't go unnoticed, friends begin whispering about them. One afternoon, Tessa sees Hardin writing in a notebook and tries to peek, but he keeps teasing her. Their teasing soon turns into passion, and they share more intimate moments, until suddenly her mother barges into the room and catches them in a compromising situation. Furious, she lashes out at Steph, accusing her of being a bad influence. She then scolds Tessa, warning that she'll ruin her future over a boy. This time, Tessa pushes back, insisting she'll live life her own way, not according to her mother's expectations. Her words leave her mother both shaken and heartbroken. Before leaving, her mother warns that Hardin will only end up breaking her heart and then cutting her out completely. Troubled, Tessa later confides in Landon, who tells her that Hardin is a complicated person and advises her to be cautious. Soon after, Hardin takes Tessa to a large house that belongs to one of his father's friends, who is currently living abroad in Italy. Hardin suggests that the two of them stay there together. Since Tessa's mother had already cut her off, Hardin wanted to give her a place of her own. The two move in and begin building a life together, spending most of their time laughing, exploring, and cherishing the small moments. Hardin still struggles to believe that Tessa is with him, admitting he doesn't feel worthy of her, but she reassures him that nothing could ever change how she feels. Later, they attend the wedding celebration of Hardin's father and Landon's mother. Tessa meets Karen and the rest of the family, who warmly welcome her. But for Hardin, watching his father with another woman stirs up painful memories, and Tessa tries to comfort him. When his father delivers a heartfelt speech, praising Hardin, Hardin quietly tells Tessa this isn't the man he grew up with. He recalls a time when his father picked the wrong fight at a bar, and the consequences followed them home, leaving scars on his real mother's life. That pain, he says, never truly goes away. Later that evening, Tessa and Hardin share a slow dance, locking eyes until passion pulls them into a private room, where she decides to take their relationship further. Not long after, Molly starts eyeing Tessa with jealousy, questioning her about Hardin. Tessa chooses not to reveal much. But then, when Molly later sends a suspicious message from Hardin's phone, Tessa begins to doubt him. She confronts Hardin, demanding answers, but he insists she should trust him. Her nerves grow worse when she receives a text from a friend urging her to come to a place called Videodrome to hear the truth about Hardin. On her way, she meets Jade, who tells her Hardin might actually be at Blind Bob's. There, Tessa finds Steph and others waiting. Molly then drops a bombshell. She plays a recording from the night they all first played Truth or Dare, showing that Hardin once accepted a dare to make Tessa fall for him. Shattered, Tessa cannot believe what she sees. Hardin swears that it was before his feelings for her became real, but she walks away in tears. It feels like the loneliest moment of her life. She returns home, hugs her mother tightly, and apologizes without explaining the full story. She also tells her mother she loves her before leaving to meet Noah, who is confused about why she showed up. Tessa admits she never meant to hurt him, and he responds with kindness, easing the tension as they share a laugh. Back at university, Tessa decides to change direction. She writes an email to switch her major from economics to English. Meanwhile, Hardin is devastated by their separation. He replays every memory of her and breaks down in tears. Soon after, Tessa receives news that she's been offered an interview for an internship at Vance Publishing. While sitting in class, her professor hands her an envelope, explaining that Hardin had left it for her. Inside, Tessa finds sketches he drew of her, along with heartfelt writings. In them, Hardin admits that he once believed love was nothing but fiction, no more real than the characters in a novel, until he met her. He writes that she became his Elizabeth Bennet, the one who pulled him out of the darkness, someone he wants to follow anywhere. In his final words, he asks for her forgiveness. When she once asked who he loved most in the world, he now has only one answer: Tessa. That's where the story closes, with love unspoken but deeply felt.